Hello guys, my name is Anna and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the start of brutal Russian invasion. So if you want to know more about Ukraine and what is life in my country during these challenging times and you support Ukraine, please subscribe and share the videos that you consider important. But today's video might be a bit sarcastic and I'm sorry because we are going to speak about Lukashenko, Putin, their meetings and conversations on public, which no sane brain can accept without a pinch of sarcasm. Honestly, these two men would have been very pathetic if we forget about their crimes. But we cannot forget because these are daily traumas and thousands of people dead because two of these lonely dictators of Europe decided they want to rule the world. One of them, Lukashenko, is of course extremely dependent on Putin, but in 2020 the world had a chance to help Belarus people get rid of him, but we decided not to interfere and not to escalate. And the result, we have Belarus as a platform for Russian military campaigns and as a platform for the threats to the rest of the world. And now they actively try to introduce a narrative where they threaten Poland, the Baltic countries, and the rest of the collective West as they imagine it in their rotten Soviet heads. Well, actually, this meeting of Lukashenko and Putin in St. Petersburg was very depressing, and at a certain moment of time, I could have compared them with Mark Antony and Cleopatra days before they had to commit suicide. Because Russian war in Ukraine is totally unsuccessful. It led to serious chaos inside the country, but also demonstrated that Putin is weak. The fact that Lukashenko is weak was visible for a long period of time as he was slowly giving up his country to Russia. Now we have this union state or whatever, but definitely it is not an independent Belarus because everything is controlled from Kremlin and even the intelligence services, police, all perhaps will listen to Putin more than to Lukashenko. This is an example of silent annexation that Russia wanted for Ukraine back in times of Yanukovych. But once again, Ukrainians love freedom, they protested. If you support Ukrainian fight for freedom and you share our values, please subscribe and demonstrate your solidarity. This helps my channel be more visible so that more people can know about life in Ukraine during these challenging times. And in their recent conversation, they were threatening Poland. Putin had a speech where he spoke about the territories that were given to Poland by Stalin, and that is a very typical narrative of Putin. He likes faking history, stealing historical characters, substituting facts, manipulating, and this is a trap in which he got and the majority of Russian population. Stealing the history of other countries, they started to believe that they possess qualities needed for this kind of history. But it doesn't work like that. So if you steal, I don't know, some Ukrainian Kiev Rus princes, you do not inherit their blood and their attitudes and their willpower. And this is actually a reason why Russia is losing this war, because we are a freedom-loving nation that will never accept slavery and tsardom as Russians do. We're super different, and by stealing some of our past achievements, you cannot steal the qualities we possess for that achievements. But why do Putin and Lukashenko start speaking to Poland and the Baltic countries that way? Well, first of all, they are losing and they need time. At this moment, they are not ready to escalate because, come on, they did not even manage to take Bakhmut. And they are losing lots of previously occupied territories in Ukraine, so they don't have enough strength. And of course, 5,000 Wagner Group soldiers are not a real danger to Poland. They are not a real danger even to my Volyn region, honestly. They can be easily stopped, and this funny message that Lukashenko says, I don't know how to keep them from going into that direction, makes me just laugh. But what they do, first of all, they are trying to identify any anti-war supporters in the West who will say, well, let's negotiate because we have this threat of Kremlin attacking the West. Well, Kremlin's been attacking the West for the last like 10 years almost, and it does not have the resources to destroy the West. It has the resources to threaten and to terrorize, and it actively uses that as a typical bully. And secondly, maybe they are trying to distract attention from their losses in Ukraine by showing some other enemies behind the corner. And they focus on Poland because like Baltic countries are small, Germany is very far away, and Poland is close. Poland is extreme ally and supporter of Ukraine, and we're super grateful to this country and its people. And that's why they are trying also to maybe influence Polish population so that they will be afraid of Russia. But I'm sure they will not, because they realize that Putin and Lukashenko are lonely dictators and losers, and they are dying together with their regimes. The problem is that this agony is a long process. And one of the reasons why this process is so long, because everything is very slow. And many of you congratulated us on the decision of F-16, and perhaps you don't even remember when it was, because it was a couple of months ago. And they are not flying above Ukrainian skies, not yet, and it will take more months. So every supply, every decision takes really long to fulfill, and we have to remember that, because when you sometimes think that Ukrainian counteroffensive is a bit slow, well, like everything is slow, including supply. But we are very grateful because every Patriot, every tank, every F-16 means hundreds of Ukrainian lives saved. And by doing that, you're not giving weapons, you're saving human lives. And I'm very grateful for that. And Ukrainians are very, very grateful for that daily. But it's important not to start listening to the conversations of these pathetic, dying Soviet dictators. Just look at their style, guys. I'm sorry. I know it's not a vlog about fashion, but like the way they style themselves, the way they present themselves, I don't know, using a pointer in front of a map in the times of digital technologies, like not using internet. Honestly, I'm not saying like that it decides everything, but this shows how outdated they are, and they are actually living in the past, and they are fighting this war in the old style, and all of that is sad and pathetic, and you cannot travel into future with leaders like that. But what they are trying to do, they are trying to freeze war and to wait, because these tactics might help them regroup, build more missiles on their plants and factories, and also wait for fatigue in the countries that are our allies, and possibly to provoke different conflicts inside of your country, so that you will be very concentrated on your internal problems, and you will say, oh, we don't need this global politics, let Ukraine do whatever it wants. It's Ukrainian war. No, it is Russian war against democratic values, which includes basic things like freedom of choice, like human life, like respect. That's why we have to be united, and feeling that Russia is weak. Russia is actually like Putin and Lukashenko, they embody, they represent, they are the best illustration of what this regime is. How do you think? Can you win Putin in a boxing match or like in a fight? Definitely you can. So the same is possible with Russian army, and Ukraine is doing that daily. So please continue supporting us. If you like things that I'm saying and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe, because YouTube loves it and makes these videos more visible, and Ukraine needs your support, attention and understanding. Thank you for buying me coffees and becoming my patrons. Subscribe to my social media. All the links are below this video. And Slava Ukraini!